At 2 a.m. on June 27, the Volgograd region of Russia lay shrouded in frigid darkness, with only faint lights flickering from distant villages. The serene night sky was suddenly torn apart by 6 shadowy streaks, Ukraine's Luty UAVs, each measuring 11.5 feet long, with a 9.2-foot wingspan, weighing 440 pounds and carrying a 110-pound high-explosive warhead. Launched from a covert base near Ukraine's border, the drones silently sped toward the Marinovuk Airbase, 280 miles from the front line, at 124 miles per hour. The soft hum of their electric motors blended with the night's breeze. Each Luty, boasting a 620-mile range and GPS-INS navigation, was programmed to strike 4 Su-34 fighter bombers and the base's maintenance area with pinpoint accuracy. Under a dim moon, Ukrainian Special Operations Forces (SSO) officers, concealed in an underground command bunker near Kyiv, monitored the drone's signals, carrying hopes of shaking Russia's air dominance. This was no routine strike. It was a strategic blow, proving Ukraine could hit targets deep inside Russian territory. The Marinovka assault stemmed from weeks of meticulous planning by the SSO and Ukraine's Security Service, SBU, backed by Western intelligence. At a clandestine facility near Zhytomyr, technicians worked through the night under harsh lights, the roar of Luty drone engines echoing through the forest. Each Luty, with its lightweight carbon frame, 9.2-foot wingspan, and 10-kilowatt electric motor, underwent rigorous testing. The 110-pound warhead, equivalent to 220 pounds of TNT, featured a proximity sensor to detonate 6.5 feet from its target, maximizing destruction. Technicians used laser scanners to inspect warheads, ensuring 0 defects. The GPS/INS navigation system, combining satellite and inertial sensors, was calibrated to hit the Su-34 parking area at Marinovka with yard-level precision. SBU intelligence analysts studied Maxar satellite imagery with 1.6-foot resolution, revealing 4 Su-34s parked in the open, 650 feet from hangars. Each Su-34, 76.4 feet long, with a 48.2-foot wingspan and a maximum weight of 99,400 pounds, was powered by AL-31F1 engines, capable of Mach 1.8, and carried 26,400 pounds of KAB-500 glide bombs, each 9.8 feet long, weighing 1,235 pounds, with a 550-pound warhead. The maintenance area, housing a 13,200-gallon fuel tank and an engine parts warehouse, sat 490 feet from the parking zone. A Bayraktar TB2 reconnaissance drone, flying at 23,000 feet, confirmed reduced nighttime activity at Marinovka, with only a few technicians patrolling. Ukraine's 24th Intelligence Unit's SIGINT systems intercepted signals from Marinovka, pinpointing Su-34 maintenance schedules when the jets were unmanned and most vulnerable. The 6 Luty drones were programmed for a 2-pronged attack. 4 targeted the Su-34s and 2 hit the maintenance area. Their 280-mile flight path crossed uninhabited eastern Ukrainian regions, slipped over the border near Rostov, and headed for Volgograd. Encrypted Starlink satellite communications, switching frequencies every 5 seconds, ensured uninterrupted signals. The strike was timed for 2 a.m., when Marinovka's activity was minimal and night visibility was low. In the Kyiv bunker, an SSO colonel, his gaze steely, ordered, "Run final systems check. Prepare for thunderstrike." Under a starry sky, the 6 Luty drones lifted off from a secret Zhytomyr base at 10:30 p.m. on June 26. Their 10-kilowatt electric motors whirred softly, shattering the forest's silence. Each drone, cruising at 124 miles per hour and hugging the terrain at 164 feet, used valleys, wheat fields, and pine forests to mask radar signatures. Flying in a V formation, spaced 1,640 feet apart, they ensured that if one was detected, the others could press on. With lightweight carbon frames, each Luthier produced a radar signature akin to a large bird, rendering them nearly invisible to Russian air defenses. In the Kiev bunker, SSO officers watched a 3D display tracking the Luti drone's paths. A reconnaissance Luti, circling at 19,700 feet above Volgograd, reported no Russian patrol aircraft. "Skies clear," an engineer stated, his calm voice masking tension. Operators' fingers hovered over keyboards, ready to adjust coordinates if needed. Starlink's 20-millisecond latency delivered real-time data, plotting each drone's position on a digital map. The reconnaissance Luti's infrared camera detected heat signatures from the Su-34 parking area, confirming the 4 jets remained at pre-verified coordinates, their engines still warm from earlier maintenance. Crossing Russia's border near Rostov at 12:30 a.m., the drones glided over vast fields. SBU engineers in the bunker monitored inertial sensors, ensuring no deviation from the planned route. A light 3-mile breeze blew, but the Luti's automated controls, with under 3-foot error margins, kept them steady. Russian troops at Marinovka, unsuspecting, continued routine tasks. A few technicians checked equipment near the parking area, while the 4 Su-34s, each worth $50 million, sat idle, their Leninets B-004 radars and GLONASS navigation systems primed for future missions. At 1:50 a.m., the drones entered Volgograd's airspace, 12.4 miles from Marinovka. They split formation, 4 headed for the Su-34 parking area, 2 for the maintenance zone. Tension in the Kiev bunker was palpable. A large screen displayed precise parking coordinates, with reconnaissance Luti imagery showing only 3 technicians working, no guards near the Su-34s. "Targets in sight," an officer reported, his voice sharp. The operations commander, an SSO colonel, stood at the room's center and ordered, "Prepare to strike. Ensure absolute precision." At exactly 2 a.m., the 4 Luti drones dropped to 98 feet, diving toward the Su-34 parking area at 124 miles per hour. Each drone, with a 110-pound warhead and proximity sensor, was set to detonate 6.5 feet from its target for maximum impact. The faint whine of their electric motors was drowned out by the wind, leaving Russian troops at Marinovka oblivious to the approaching threat. The Su-34 parking area, on the base's western side, spanned 328 by 328 feet, with the 4 jets spaced 49 to 65 feet apart, forming a perfect square under the moonlight. The first Luti targeted Su-34 number 1, parked at the northwest corner. Its 110-pound warhead, equivalent to 220 pounds of TNT, pierced the titanium casing of the AL-31 FM-1 engine compartment. A blinding explosion ripped through the night, unleashing a 164-foot fireball. The shockwave spread 328 feet, rattling hangars 600 feet away. Metal fragments from engine blades and the fuselage scattered, leaving a 6-foot-deep, 33-foot-wide crater. Flames engulfed the engine and Leninet's B004 radar, reducing Su-34 No. 1 to a smoldering heap of charred wreckage. 2 seconds later, the second Luti struck Su-34 No. 2, 65 feet away. Its warhead hit the fuel tank, holding 2,640 gallons of JP-8 kerosene. A massive secondary explosion erupted as the fuel ignited, creating a gigantic fireball that lit the parking area like daylight. The shockwave cracked the concrete tarmac, and debris from the cockpit and wings flew 490 feet. Flames consumed the avionics and pilot seats, leaving a 20-foot deep crater wreathed in thick black smoke. The thunderous blast woke Russian troops in barracks 1,600 feet away. The third Luti targeted Su-34 No. 3 at the southeast corner. Its warhead struck the weapons bay, where 2 KAB-500 glide bombs, each weighing 1,235 pounds, were stored. A secondary explosion from the bombs produced a 328-foot fireball, with a shockwave spreading 600 feet. Concrete and steel fragments from the tarmac flew outward, damaging a technical vehicle 164 feet away. Flames devoured the entire jet from nose to tail, leaving a 23-foot deep, 39-foot wide crater. The fourth Luti hit Su-34 No. 4 at the southwest corner. Its warhead struck the cockpit, obliterating avionics, pilot seats, and the heads-up display. A dazzling explosion followed, with flames spreading to burn off radar-absorbing paint and sensors. The shockwave cracked nearby concrete slabs, and cockpit glass and fuselage fragments flew 328 feet. The 16-foot deep, 33-foot wide crater marked the remains of a $50 million war machine now reduced to blackened scrap. In the Kiev bunker, SSO officers erupted in cheers as screens showed 4 massive smoke columns rising from the parking area. 4 Su-34s destroyed, an engineer reported, his voice electric with excitement. Imagery from the reconnaissance Luti, circling at 19,700 feet, revealed the parking area engulfed in flames, with fire temperatures reaching 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit. The 4 Su-34s, once the pride of the 11th Red Star Squadron, were now smoldering ruins, with metal and concrete debris strewn across the site. As the Su-34 parking area burned, the 2 remaining Luti drones raced toward the maintenance zone, 490 feet away. This area, with a 13,200-gallon fuel tank and a warehouse of AL-31 engine parts, was critical to the 11th Squadron's operations. The drones flew at 98 feet, their GPS/INS systems ensuring meter-level accuracy. Russian troops, still reeling from the parking area blasts, were unaware of the new threat. The fifth Luti targeted the 13,200-gallon fuel tank beside a parts warehouse. Its 110-pound warhead, with a proximity sensor, punched through the tank's 0.4-inch steel shell. A colossal explosion followed, producing a 492-foot fireball that lit the base like a giant torch. The shockwave spread 984 feet, collapsing the nearby warehouse roof and destroying 2 fuel trucks 164 feet away. Flames consumed repair equipment and auxiliary tanks, creating an uncontrollable blaze. Thick black smoke, reeking of burning kerosene, spread for miles. The 6th Luti struck the parts warehouse, housing AL-31FM-1 engine components, spare radars, and avionics. Its warhead detonated at the warehouse's center, collapsing the reinforced concrete structure. A secondary explosion from maintenance chemicals released toxic fumes, blanketing a 650-foot radius. Debris from the roof and equipment scattered, damaging a nearby hydraulic crane. Flames consumed costly components, from engine blades to radar circuits, reducing the warehouse to rubble. In the Kyiv bunker, screens displayed 2 smoke columns from the maintenance zone, confirming the second target's destruction. "Maintenance area down," an officer reported, his voice resolute. Reconnaissance LUT imagery showed the fuel tank engulfed in flames, with fire temperatures hitting 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit. The parts warehouse, once Marinova's logistical hub, was a pile of charred concrete and steel, with debris scattered everywhere. At Marinovka, Russian troops descended into chaos. The successive blasts at the parking and maintenance areas, with fireballs and thick smoke, exposed the base's position in the dark. Alarms wailed, but confusion reigned. Technicians near the parking area, caught off guard, fled, some with minor burns from the heat. The base commander, 1,640 feet away in a barracks, shouted into a radio for reports, but got only garbled responses amid the panic. Russian troops near the maintenance area, 328 feet from the fuel tank, were stunned by the massive explosion. Flames at 2,192 degrees Fahrenheit prevented any approach to fight the fire. The base's fire trucks, with only 1,320-gallon tanks, were no match for the 13,200-gallon kerosene blaze. Some soldiers tried to salvage equipment from the parts warehouse, but toxic smoke and flying debris forced them back. In the command barracks, Russian officers stared in shock through windows at Marinovka's sky, ablaze with black smoke obscuring the moon. In the Kyiv bunker, SSO officers watched every second unfold on screens. The reconnaissance LUT's 1080p infrared camera showed the Su-34 parking area in flames, with craters 16 to 23 feet deep. The maintenance zone, with its fuel tank and warehouse, was rubble, with fires raging for hours. "We did it," an engineer whispered, eyes glued to the screen. The commander ordered, "Keep monitoring. Miss nothing." The 6 LUT attack drones, programmed for self-destruction, executed their mission flawlessly, their fragments scattering to prevent Russian analysis. Each drone's self-destruct system triggered a small explosion, obliterating carbon frames and circuit boards, leaving no technological traces. The reconnaissance LUT, at 19,700 feet, monitored Marinovka for 30 more minutes, relaying real-time data to Kyiv via Starlink. Infrared imagery showed 4 craters in the parking area, with fire temperatures at 1,832 degrees Fahrenheit, ensuring the Su-34s were irreparable scrap. The maintenance zone, with its fuel tank and warehouse, burned fiercely, with smoke lingering for hours. Debris from the tank's 0.4-inch steel panels flew 984 feet, damaging nearby equipment. The warehouse, housing millions in AL-31F1 engine parts, was incinerated, leaving a 13-foot-deep, 26-foot-wide crater. Reconnaissance LUT data confirmed no effective Russian firefighting efforts, with troops still in disarray. In the Kyiv bunker, SSO officers exhaled in relief. "Mission accomplished," the SSO colonel declared, his voice steady. Screens showed the reconnaissance LUT's final signal. Su-34 targets destroyed. Maintenance area collapsed. SBU engineers analyzed data, confirming the 4 Su-34s, worth $200 million, were obliterated. The maintenance zone, with its fuel tank and warehouse, would be inoperable for 3 to 6 months. No casualties were reported, as the strike areas were unmanned at the time. The Lutier drone strike on Marinovka dealt a crippling blow to Russia's Air Force. 4 Su-34s, key to Russia's glide bomb campaigns against Ukraine, were destroyed, with losses estimated at $200 million. The maintenance zone, with its 13,200-gallon fuel tank and parts warehouse, was razed, halting the 11th Red Star Squadron's operations for months. Craters 16 to 23 feet deep in the parking area and a 13-foot crater at the warehouse underscored Ukraine's UAV prowess, shaking Russia's confidence in securing remote bases. In Moscow, Russia's defense ministry held an emergency meeting, with Air Force Commander Sergei Dronov ordering a review of air defense strategies. Pro-Russian telegram channels admitted losses, but claimed only 2 Su-34s were destroyed and 2 damaged, downplaying the impact. However, post-strike Maxar satellite imagery confirmed all 4 Su-34s were obliterated, with the parking and maintenance areas in ruins. In Kyiv, President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the operation, stating, "We've shown Russia that every one of their targets is within our reach." The strike heightened tensions, with Russia retaliating via missile attacks on Kyiv and Odessa on June 28, killing dozens of civilians. Ukraine, with Western support, pledged to produce 2.5 million UAVs by late 2025, bolstering its technological edge. Will this strike deter Russia or spark a new cycle of violence? The Marinakova operation was not just a military victory, but a reminder of the Russia-Ukraine conflict's complexity, where technology, resolve, and strategy shape the future. We hope this report offers deep insight into Ukraine's lightning UAV strike and the pivotal moments over Volgograd's skies. If you found this compelling, please like, share, and follow for more military analyses. Your comments and feedback are invaluable, helping us deliver authentic, gripping stories. Thank you, and see you next time.